Hey guys, Civilord here, back again with another action figure review. Today we'll be taking a look at Ye Old Headhunter, brought to us by the fine folks over at Horsemen Studios. That's right, this is a non-branded, quote-unquote, Horsemen Studios figure. First released at this past year's ZoloCon, and quite possibly a figure that not only I myself, but the rest of you out there in good old YouTube land may be surprised that I actually bothered to pick up and check out here on the channel because of my thoughts on the previously released Skullman. He was also a first to market at ZoloCon. I have a whole review talking about that figure. We won't dwell on it here, but before we get too far ahead of ourselves, why don't we cut right to the chase and take a look-see at all Mr. Headhunter has to offer in terms of accessories, starting off with a pair of open hands, complete with the skeleton paint on the back, so that's pretty cool. We also have a alternate skull head with a hinged jaw. The one on him does not move, so I'm kind of trying to wrap my head around why that's even included in the first place. And then we also have a, I believe, silver halberd. Of course, the tip does come off. That's what she said. And that's it. That is all you get for $50. So the exclusive version had the same skull head from the Undead Builder Kit from the Necronominous wave that has the flame effects that go into the eye sockets. It doesn't have a jaw, and it also has the flames that go around the jaw area to kind of make it look like it has a jaw. And then it also has the green flames for heads with jaws. Why that green flame was not included with this release, I don't know. It would have helped the price quite a bit. I also don't get why we don't have more hands. I think this guy should have come with some fists and some grip hands with the appropriate hinge for holding weapons, because the ones he's got do not have the appropriate hinges for holding weapons. So on top of the fact that he is very minimal in terms of accessories, 3 of them are kind of obsolete when you compare them to other things we've either seen before or even got in the same box. So very un-Horsemen of them to do that. I don't know what's going on there. Wouldn't surprise me if the guy who runs ZoloCon had something to do with it, because he is a bit of a douchebag if you're unfamiliar. I mean, he does scalp his own exclusives, so fuck him. That said, you know what sucks more than that? Motherfucking tariffs. And I don't want to turn this into a tariff-based channel. We've talked about them a few times now, but I gotta talk some shit one last time, because this was the straw that broke the camel's back for me. Good old Chris Gorich, the head of production at Horsemen Studios, also runs this little company called D13 Toys, and they make, of course, the Biblical Adventures action figures based off characters from, well, the Bible. And that poor bastard got hit with $25,000 in tariff fees when he tried to import his product into the country. I don't give a fuck if y'all like Jesus or not. That is some straight up bullshit, and I'm not okay with that. I consider Chris a friend of the channel. I think he's a pretty cool guy, and if anyone asks him anything to do with production, he's not all secretive about it. He actually is pretty open about talking about it, and that is pretty freaking cool, because I don't know anyone else like that in the toy community. I really don't. So thankfully a bunch of people rallied together and did a GoFundMe to help him cover that cost, and people have been buying up the figures, which have thankfully turned out really, really good after a long wait, unlike certain toy lines that shall not be named. But yours truly might be tempted to check out some Demons and Gargoyles in the future. So if you're wondering what the hell I'm doing with Biblical Adventures figures, that's why. I want to support a buddy, alright? So with that being said, why don't we take a closer look at this Headhunter figure, because it's not all gloom and doom here in Overlord Productions. Other than taking off this actually pretty decent wired cape. No busted wires or anything, unlike the Skullman one I got, and the material is a little better as well. Appears to be a little bit of jankiness in the wire, but it doesn't feel like I don't know where it ends and starts. I want to say it's around here, but I can't tell. I really can't. I think it's around here though, but at any rate, it's a decent enough cape, I guess. But why don't we pop this alt head on? Because I imagine this is one everyone who bought this figure is going to use. And yes, of course, it's got a hinge jaw, so he can be all meow. Because as you know, Scareglow is the ghost of Skeletor and or ghost servant of Skeletor. Because let's face it, this is hashtag not Scareglow. I mean, seriously, look at him. He's got the freaking skeleton paint on the black muscle-bound body buck here. Which, no, I don't believe it glows in the dark. That'd be pretty sweet if it did. But I don't know if he's got it on the back. I kind of think he would, but if you wanted to make a Scareglow, you easily do it with this figure. I personally might be doing that. I don't know. I kind of like him as is, despite the fact his accessories are sorely lacking. Had to grab a couple from the accessory set from Poxus Wave to spruce him up a bit. You'll see that for final thoughts. But as far as articulation goes, his head will look up and down and all around and this and that. But here's the catch. Pop that off for a second. He's got a disc hinge in this torso, which is new to me, because this is the new Barbarian torso that I didn't know this guy was going to have. Had Skullman had this torso, I might like that figure more and not trade him for Thundercats Classics Giagi from Super 7, who's going to be super out of business if they keep firing everybody. That said, his shoulders can go up this far. It's actually pretty darn far. You can rotate all around. Single jointed elbow gives you a little more than 90. It's got a gauntlet swivel, elbow swivel, swivel hinge. Wrists are again the wrong hinge for holding weapons, but they do have the skeleton paint on the back, so that's cool. Torso can lean back this far and forward this far. I feel like he leans back more than he leans forward. What is this, McFarlane figure? That said, he can rotate at the waist. It's nice and solid there. And of course, he does have some tilt side to side as well. Hips can kick out to the side pretty darn well. This hip's not the tightest thing on mine, but it's not like super floppy loose either, so I'm not going to bother bugging customer service with that, because they're going to be busy with All-Star 6, hopefully soon. His leg can kick forward, kick back. He's got some nice soft goods on the loins there. His crotch. It's a little kind of pleather flap thing going on. It's nice, it's decent. Gets the job done, I guess. It's got a thigh cut. Single jointed knee, which bends about that far. Not too much more than before. He's got swivel below the knee. Then he's got a full-on boot swivel, which that's pretty cool. And then he does have a ball hinge ankle, so you can rotate, hinge. Whoa, that's tight. Holy shit. And pivot. And then he's got peg holes at the bottom of the feet. I want to say these are new boots too. These don't feel like the Alithia boots. For the feet anyways. The calves themselves are definitely new. I don't know if these pop off either. I would think they would, given the nature of Four Horsemen Studios stuff, but I got no clue, man. But either way, a decent figure hindered by a kind of sucky price point, and in fact, he just doesn't come with anything. I mean, really. If he came with more stuff, hell yeah, I'd say he was worth the $50. But as it stands, this is literally, no pun intended, maybe a little bit, bare bones for Four Horsemen. Like, I paid $50 for Scapular the Crypt Breaker 2.0, and he comes with enough accessories for like 6 of this guy. So I don't know what's going on there. I don't know if that's something to do with the D-bag who runs ZoloCon, so he can go fuck himself sideways. I don't give a shit. But at any rate, I like the figure still. It's possibly going to get turned into a Scareglow. Possibly a contender for one of the figures of the year, if not an honorable mention, especially if I turn him into Scareglow. And that Toy Galaxy thing, he doesn't include customs. But at any rate, why don't we move right along and take a look at some size comparisons. First up, here is good old Headhunter, aka not Scareglow, alongside a couple other quote-unquote non-branded Four Horsemen Studios figures. We of course have Dimitros Borgir from PowerCon a couple years back, which, if I'm being honest, I think he's cooler than both of these guys. What happened to PowerCon, by the way? Is that still a thing? Because if the Four Horsemen kept pumping stuff like Dimitros out for PowerCon, I think we'd have a pretty awesome line of non-branded Four Horsemen characters. But either way, he was almost figure of the year. I think second to the Mezco Ghost Rider, because of course the $250 item is going to top the $37 item, but we'll just call him figure of the year for that year for Four Horsemen. And then we also have ATL, I want to say 50 is the number after the letters in his name. Looking a lot like something from the Iron Maiden album cover, A Matter of Life and Death, because I threw the non-articulated skull head from good old Headhunter here on that body. And I gotta say, it looks pretty cool. I kind of wish I bought myself one of those. More on that in his review going up tomorrow, so stay tuned for that. But hey, I guess that non-articulated skull head was useful after all. But getting these two out of the way, so we can bring in our two regulars, the of course branded Four Horsemen character, Brother Mandibilith from Mythic Legions. I'm sure those of you who've been around are no strangers to him. Then we of course have the infamous 11 Spawn, who as usual, we're gonna say towers over everyone, because he is actually quite a bit taller than old Headhunter here, aka not Scareglow. So with that being said, it's time now that we wrap things up with some final thoughts. Overall, and aside from the sheer lack of any real useful accessories, and I cannot believe I'm saying that about the fine folks over at Four Horsemen Studios, I do still thoroughly enjoy good old Headhunter, aka not Scareglow here. Again, I'm not sure if the exclusivity of some of those flame effects for the ZoloCon version have something to do with the D-bag that runs it, but at the end of the day, when the exclusive parts are literally 50% to 75% of the accessories a figure comes with, maybe you should reconsider what's exclusive, guys. Just saying. Other than that, I like the figure. I'm glad I got the figure. However, I wouldn't be surprised if I turn it into a makeshift Scareglow until we get an official one at some point in the, hopefully, near to distant future. So with that being said, hope you guys enjoyed this review. And until next time, I'll catch you guys later.